Hi everyone, welcome back. Today is going to be my monthly reading wrap up for the month of April. I am so excited to make this video. I love watching other people's monthly reading wrap ups. It's just so fun to get to see what everybody else is reading. I read 5 books. I started a 6th book in April, but I'm still not done with it yet, and today's May 1st, so I don't really want to consider it. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So the first book that I read, and I talked about this and I made a video a couple of weeks ago over all the books that I've read so far in 2023. So I think that 2 of these books are in that video, but this was the first book that I read this month and I just didn't like it. And it's so sad because this is so many people's favorite book of all time, and it just wasn't for me. I could not connect with the characters. I didn't like the storyline. It was not for me, which is so sad. It took me 3 weeks to read this book, or honestly maybe a month. I think I read 1 or 2 chapters and I just didn't click with it immediately. So I set it down, and I think this honestly put me in a reading slump because I didn't read for a while after I started this book, but I think I gave this 3 stars, which is honestly being generous for me because I just did not like this book. Maybe I'll give it another chance in the future. I do want to read her other books, especially Happy Place that just came out, but yeah, this was a 3-star for me. The next book that I read was Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I'm honestly so surprised that it took me this long to read this book because this is another favorite for a lot of people, and I actually really did like this book. So I gave it 4 stars. It's basically about this girl, Lowen, who she's a writer, but she takes up the job of being a ghostwriter. I think that's what it's technically called. She takes up the job of being a ghostwriter for Verity. That's this other writer's name is Verity, and Verity is basically bedridden. She's incoherent. She's not there mentally, and she had a really popular book series, so Lowen is hired to finish that book series, and she moves into Verity's house with Verity's husband and her son, and basically a lot of weird stuff starts happening. There's a lot of moments in this book that you're just like, what's about to happen next? It's just a lot of plot twists, but I gave this book 4 stars. It was pretty good. I think I read this in the span of 3 days. I just couldn't put it down because I needed to know what was happening next. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. So the next book that I read was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I'm sorry, I'm not sure exactly how you say it, but I gave this book 3 stars, I believe, because this book was good. It's about a girl who is going to stay with her brother at his Paris apartment, and whenever she gets there, he's not there anymore. He disappeared, and so she's trying to figure out what happened to him, and she's talking to everyone that lives in the apartment because it's a small apartment building. Sorry, there's dust in the air right now, but it's a small apartment building, so she's talking to everyone, trying to figure out who it is. It's a very whodunit book. She's questioning everyone, and I don't know. The reason I didn't like this book is because of how sporadic it is. It jumps back and forth between everyone's perspective. There's 5 or 6 people. It jumps in between, and I don't know. It's just so sporadic. It doesn't. There's a storyline, but it's very just. I don't know how to explain it. The girl keeps thinking that it's someone else who did it, and then it's oh, it wasn't me, it was her. So it jumps to the next person, and it's very it doesn't give you an answer, or nothing makes sense until the end, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't my favorite book. I'd still recommend it. There's also French in this, and it translates most of it, but most of the characters in this speak French, so they talk in French, and it's, I don't know. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars. The next book that I read was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This book was so good. I read this in the span of 3 days too. I also cried. I don't know if I full on cried, but I definitely teared up from this book. This one's about a girl named Tate. She moves in with her brother into his apartment. and across the hall lives a guy, and his name is Miles. And Miles and Tate end up becoming like friends, I guess, and they make this deal. And of course, just like every movie or book, the deal kind of goes crazy, and they're starting to question the deal that they made, and it just goes from there. But it switches back and forth between current day Tate, and then it goes back 6 years ago, Miles' point of view. So it does switch, and usually I don't like that, but I really liked it in this book because, I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything, but you should definitely read this if you haven't. I have always heard good things about this book, and I will say it didn't live up to like the extreme hype that people talk about this book. Like, a lot of people have rated this 5 stars, and it wasn't quite that for me, but it was still a really good book. So 4 stars, Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Go read it. Okay, guys, these next 2 books are some of my favorites that I've ever read. So, The Summer I Turned Pretty, I'm sure everyone has heard of this. The show came out on Amazon Prime last year, I think. No, this is not the original cover, and I'm really sad about it. It should look like this, which I'll get to this next. It should look like this. This is the second book. I was buying the book separately because I didn't know for sure if I was gonna like the book. So I didn't want to buy the 3-set bundle on Amazon, but I should have, because you cannot buy the first book anymore that has the original cover where all 3 match. You can't buy the first book separately like that anymore. You have to get it in the bundle. And I should have just done the bundle. But nonetheless, this is the best book, or one of the best books that I have ever read. It's a young adult book, so it's very, very easy to read. I mean, it's borderline middle school, but definitely high school reading. But basically, this girl, Belly, it's her point of view, or most of it is, but she goes to the beach house that she goes to every summer at Cousins Beach. And she goes with her brother Steven, her mom, and then the people that own the beach house is Susanna and her 2 boys, Conrad and Jeremiah. And the first book just centers around the beach house and their life at the beach house. And there's some crushes that go on, and it's just like the best summer vibes I've ever experienced in a book. Like, I don't know, it's so good. It makes me miss the beach, and it makes me miss going to the beach with my friends and just having fun and like staying up late. It is literally one of the best books I've ever read, and I think it's meant more for like teenagers, and I'm 23. But y'all should definitely go read this book. It was a 5-star. I would give it 6 stars if I could. I read this in like 2 days, and I read more than half of this book in like less than 12 hours. It was just, I couldn't put it down. It was so good. So definitely go read this book, and also watch the show, because I'm like 2 episodes into the show right now, and it's pretty good. So this one, I don't know if this one really counts because I am currently reading this book, but I started it in April. It's now May 1st, and I'm still reading it. So I'm not really gonna count it. I just wanted to throw it in here because it's the second book in the series to the first book, The Summer I Turned Pretty. But this one is It's Not Summer Without You. This is kind of what the first book should look like. Just a different color, I think, but all the shells and stuff, all the shells and like the plants on this, they stick out. They have like a cool feeling to it. But this book so far is really good too. It doesn't take place at the beach house as much as the first one. I'm like 158 pages in now, and they pretty much just got to the beach house like 2 chapters ago. But yeah, really like this book too, but I'm not really gonna count it for April. I'll probably count it for May. So y'all will see this again in my May monthly reading wrap up, but I just wanted to throw this in there. But yeah, those were all the books that I read in April. I think it was a pretty good month personally. I read 5 books, or like 5.5, but 5 books is pretty good. I honestly, since I've gotten into reading like that, I think 5 books is the most I've ever read in 1 month. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed making it. I love watching these kinds of videos, but yeah, I'm going to post my reading vlog for the Summer I Turned Pretty series once I finish the 3rd book. but I'm currently filming that, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I will see you guys later.